Hello, you're watching TelecomTV. We're in Paris for the NGMN Conference and Exhibition 2022, where Day 2 is fully dedicated to the sustainability topic. To talk more about the importance of sustainability and how telcos can be more energy efficient and sustainable across their operations, I'm now joined by Maria Galindo Serrano, who is the head of the Green ITN Programme for Orange. Hi Maria, thank you very much for joining us today. So, you have been deeply involved in the work of the Green ITN Programme of Orange. Can you tell us more about the main initiatives and goals of this program?
Hi, thank you for inviting me for this interview. So the Green Infrastructure and Transport Network at Orange is a program which is transversal, and what we are doing in this program is to pilot the actions that our countries are taking to reduce their energy consumption and to become more sustainable. So to do this, we have organized the program in 4 main axes of work. The first one is about energy efficiency for the network. So here we are taking actions in the radio access part and in the fixed part. And the idea is to identify the features that will allow to consume less and to accompany our countries to deploy them. And we also work a lot with our vendors in order to understand the roadmaps and when these features will be available and what we can expect of them. Then the second axis is about technical environment, so the rooms where we put our network equipments. And here the idea is to work on reducing the energy that is consumed to cool down, to transformation, storage, and all this, which is needed for the network equipment to work, but the energy that is consumed for this equipment is not contributing to the data that is transmitted, right? So that's on how to optimize data centers and technical sites, right? The third one is on green energy, because we have a big engagement in increasing the renewable energy that we consume for our networks to work. And in this axis of work, we accompany our countries in choosing the best solutions and to signing contracts for energy solutions such as power purchase agreement, ESCOs, and solar on-site. Right? And the last axis is circular economy. Here we work on how to increase the lifespan of our network equipments, how to include circular criteria in the networks, in the design. So we work a lot with our vendors. And also in this part, we have the modelization of emissions from an end-to-end perspective. That's mainly what we are doing in the program.
And Orange has previously said that it has managed to save about 3 million metric tons of carbon dioxide between 2010 and 2019. How did you manage to achieve this?
So that was the engagement that Orange had before, and during this period of time, the most important actions were to reduce the main sources of CO2 emissions, which were basically fuel-based generators, which were largely used mainly in African and Middle East countries. So what we did was to develop a project which is called ORIX, and this project consisted in designing and proposing to our countries a solution which included solar production and battery storage in order to have a hybrid energy solution for our countries to deploy this in radio access networks mainly. And so of course it was depending on the type of sites, if it was on grid or off grid, and this contributed a lot to reduce the fuel consumption. And then in this period of time, we also start working very actively in the deployment of energy efficiency techniques in the network. So this allowed the networks to consume less and to consume differently, right? And this is how we get these important results.
What are the main tech developments that you can use in your ITN network operations to cut down your carbon footprint?
So I will say that the first one comes to having advanced energy management information systems where we can get all the information related to energy consumed in the networks, and this allows them to optimize. So we can identify where we are consuming the most and to identify the main levers that could have the most important impact, right? So this is something that is very important right now. Another technique that I will say that is important and we are expecting results. Important results is the use of artificial intelligence for technical environments. This could help, for instance, on producing cold water when needed, and to cool down, for example, specific parts of the technical environment where we have the network equipment when needed to. So this will allow to have a more specific cooling systems. That's the second point. And the third point comes again to the circularity of equipment. Here we need to work in having more advanced life cycle assessment of the equipment. This is very important because we can increase the lifespan of this equipment. We can have more precise modeling of the emissions that we have, and therefore we could choose what to do or what not to do in our networks, the services that more emitting or less emitting, and this is quite important right now as regulations become more demanding.
And what have you planned for the Green ITN program going forward?
So of course our program is aligned with these innovations that we expect to bring important savings. So I will just mention a few examples. The first one is that for the coming year, we have decided to accelerate in the development of tools that will allow us to measure and control the energy consumption in the networks, and to deploy use cases that will use big data or artificial intelligence to optimize the energy that is consumed. And we are also putting a lot of effort in the digitalization of these tools in order to give access to the countries, to our orange countries, to their information, in order for them to understand the impact or the savings that they can get when they deploy a given feature. So you can see this in the demos that we have here. That will be the first. The second actions that we have decided to accelerate in the coming year is the deployment of renewable energy sources. This is because we are getting close to the deadline of this Engage 2025 program that Orange has, where we need to get 50% of energy coming from renewable or decarbonized sources, right? And so we have decided to accelerate in the help or support that we give to our countries in signing renewable energy contracts. And the last example I would like to mention is the work that we are doing with standardization bodies and our vendors in order to have more precise life cycle assessment of the equipment, in order to include circular economy criteria in the conception of the network equipment, and also in order to develop new business model that will include reuse or refurbish equipment as first option in our sourcing process. This is really important because it's one of the key contributors to Scope 3, which we need to reduce in order to achieve the net zero that we aim in 2040.
And finally, what do you think the industry should do in order to become more sustainable and energy efficient?
I think we need to all get engagements in reducing these emissions, because operators Scope 3, for example, is the Scopes 1 and 2 of our vendors. So we need to understand that it's not the responsibility of one actor in the chain, is the engagement of all the actors in the value chain that will allow us to for all to achieve this net zero engagement. So previously I was working as lead of this Green Future Network project in NGMN, and what I always told to my colleagues was that we need to work together and to advance and implement the most possible solution that will reduce energy consumption, energy efficiency, not only energy efficiency, but also energy consumption as a whole, and to reduce emissions. So have modeling from end-to-end perspective that will allow us to reduce, really reduce the emissions.
Anna Maria, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you very much for inviting me.